What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another wellness bodybuilding vlog, where today I am going to be giving you my top 5 tips to beat the post-show blues. Right now it's November, we are about to get into our last show of the season, and then December is Olympia, which is the biggest show of the year. So many of you have probably already finished your shows. Maybe you didn't have a great post-show finish, maybe you did feel those post-show blues, or maybe you're about to get into a show right away in 2023 and you want to make sure that your show finishes with success and you can start that next season strong. So let's go get learning. All right, tip numero uno. We want to make sure that we are thinking about after the show. So I know what it's like. You're so excited for the show. You got 1,000 things going on. If you're traveling, you got to prepare for travel. You're putting so much into your mindset, your nutrition, your workouts. It is literally taking your whole life, and the last thing that you're thinking of is what you're going to be doing post-show. But I promise you guys, there is nothing more important than making sure that you are planning your goals post-show so that it can continue on. Because if I can be honest with you guys, prep is a different world. It starts getting you into this vibe where you're almost just running off the high and not much else. So when that show day comes, it can feel really defeating when it's over because you had so much build up to that date. People are excited for you, they're cheering you on, and once that day comes and goes, you're just another person again, right? So it's really important to make sure that you still have goals post-show. Now, we are gonna get into our second part of what the goal planning looks like. And what I want you guys to really focus on is 3 different areas, okay? So you wanna make sure that you know what you're doing with your food. You wanna make sure that you know what you're doing with your fitness. But most importantly, you wanna make sure that you know what you're doing with your time, okay? So you're used to prepping for the show taking probably close to 4 hours a day of extra time, especially if you're traveling to the gym and things like that. You are now done the show. Cardio is being tapered down. Your workouts are probably being tapered down a bit. You got a lot of extra time in your schedule and you are going to wonder, WTF do I do with it? So that's why it's so important to make sure that you have other goals outside of bodybuilding that you can focus on once the show is over, because I know that there is probably priorities that you guys wanted to take care of during prep and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe how busy this is. We're gonna have to put that on the back burner. So this would be a great time to start planning, executing those projects, and potentially putting something else on your plate that would feel really good to just get your mind in a different spot. Because honestly, guys, there's nothing that makes us feel more worthy as humans than when we produce something or make something. So feel like you can channel your creativity, especially for the fact that it's winter right now for most of us. We're gonna be trapped inside the house and there is no better time to get started on a passion project. Tip number 2 is all about making sure that that plan is solidified. So whether you're coaching yourself or whether you have a coach coaching you, you need to make sure that it is absolutely clear of what you're going to be doing post-show. Now, myself as a bodybuilding coach, I see too often of coaches not putting improvement seasons into their clients' plans, completely dropping them post-show. Clients in and of themselves have been known to go MIA post-show simply for the fact that the plan wasn't clear enough and they just want to go and do what they want to do, right? Maybe they've eaten too much food and they're feeling guilty about it and they don't want to check in with their coach, which is why it's so important to make sure that you are planning, if you're coaching yourself, or you have created a plan with your coach of what exactly it's going to look like. What are those meals going to look like? How often are you going to be having untracked meals after the show? How many days are you going to be, waiting on getting back into cardio? Are you just depleting it totally? The more details that you can get lined up, the more seamless this process is going to be, the less surprises that there's going to be. And with the way that I coach my clients, I expect them to be reaching out to me in that moment if they're having a problem. They do not wait until check-in if they have a problem. They message me in that moment so that we can get through it. So if any of my bodybuilding clients post-show are feeling like they're struggling with food, they're struggling with mindset, they're struggling with body image, they know that I am there in their corner, being able to help them in that moment, instead of feeling like they need to gap for 3 weeks and be embarrassed. which is another big reason why I think it's so important finding the right coach, especially if it's your first shot at bodybuilding, if you've ever had a bad experience with a coach, because the right coach should be detailing everything for you so that you know what your responsibilities are as the athlete, you know what to expect moving forward, and you already can pre-see the challenges that you can potentially run into so that your coach can talk it over with you and make sure that there's no fears in bringing up conversation. So honestly, guys, the biggest thing that I can express for point number 2 is making sure that your plan is clear and concise. All right, tip number 3 is to expect a crash. Expect to be tired, guys. You have been running like crazy on a high. Some of us for bodybuilding do some pretty intense peak week things. And the truth is that your body's been through a lot. You're gonna be tired at the end of the show. It's normal to feel depleted, defeated, all of the things because of the fact, like I said, you were go, 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 not really allowing your mindset to waver onto anything else. And now this goal is done. So that in and of itself is kind of a moment of, whew, I guess my body can finally relax. And if you're like me and you're a go, go, go kind of person, sometimes the hardest moments are finding yourself getting into relaxation after you've been in that go, go, go mode. You feel awkward, you feel overtired, you feel like you don't know what to do with yourself, like you should be doing something, but you're tired, like I said, and you're just in this weird ball of emotions. So I want you to know that that is completely normal, and the more that you can gauge how you're feeling, accept how you're feeling, take a day to digest how you're feeling, the easier you will be able to overcome it. Again, make sure that you're speaking with your coach about this if you are feeling any type of negativity. But the biggest thing that I can say, guys, is just recognize that feeling emotions is totally normal. Where things start to get sticky is when we choose to stay stuck. When we don't realize that it's normal for us to feel certain emotions and we allow it to take over, we allow it to tell us things in our head like we're not good enough, we're not going to be able to do this, so on and so forth. So that's my advice for tip number 3, is just recognize emotions are normal, you will get through them, but the more that you can expect them to come, digest them, and have your passion projects and clear plan moving forward, the less likely you are going to be at having the post-show blues. Tip number 4 is all about body image, because we know that this one can be really tough, and this is not just for females, guys. I want us to understand that genders can struggle with their body image equally, okay? So let's be honest about what happens while we're going through prep. Majority of us have never seen our bodies in this state of leanness. It's exciting. You're seeing things that you've never seen before. A lot of the time, because you're at a light weight, you can do different things with your body that you maybe weren't able to do prior when you had heavier weight on your joints. I know that that's a big one for me, especially like when you look at things like sissy squats or pistol squats or, you know, anything like that. It really does help being lighter on your body at the end of the day. So you're doing all these things, you're seeing all these things that you haven't seen before with your body, and it's such an empowering time. But the truth is that you go through prep in quite a short amount of time. And these changes, like I've spoken about prior, take place potentially daily, which therefore means that it's a really fast process. So then once you get to show day, I know I've felt like, damn, I just got here. Like, what do you mean it's time to reverse? I'm not ready to lose this body yet. But we really need to understand what our goals are moving forward. Did you qualify and you're going to another show in a couple of weeks? Did you decide that you're going to take some time off and, you know, maybe bodybuilding might be for you in the future, but you're not quite sure? Maybe you're about to go into your next show, but you need an improvement season. The truth is, guys, no matter what it is that you're going through, change is tough, right? And especially when we're at a point where our body is at a certain stage of leanness and we need to add some muscle to it. But the truth is that we can't add muscle to our body in a deficit in the way that we want to effectively, okay? Especially when it comes to naturally adding muscle mass to your physique, which is why so many people end up progressing to steroids and PEDs, is simply for the fact that you are limited on how much muscle you can gain on your body. Training age, actual age, So many different factors weigh into how much muscle you're going to be able to build over the coming years. And somebody like me who's a little bit seasoned now, I'm starting to lose that potential of gaining a decent amount of muscle mass in my improvement seasons. But with that being said, when it comes to my improvement season, I need to make sure that I'm okay with bringing my calories up to a point where I'm feeling good. But if I can be completely honest, 99% of the problem that happens with body image issues is that the reverse isn't done properly after show and a person gains an uncomfortable amount of weight. Now, I'm seeing a really interesting trend, I guess you could say, going on right now with some of the top pros. And, they are looking heavy in their off season, very heavy in their off season. Now, keep in mind that they're on PEDs, which makes a huge difference, myself personally, for what it looks like to hold a heavier mass, right? These people have a lot more muscle mass. But what I'm seeing though is it seems like this year, a lot of women are pushing heavier in their off season. Now, if you are somebody who can attain a heavier physique and feel like you can still get yourself into a quality prep within a reasonable amount of time, I think that that's great. But where I'm personally speaking of where I'm seeing the problems is that a lot of people aren't taking their reverse seriously. They're seeing that people are just gaining a lot of weight. So then they just gain a lot of weight in their off season, not making sure that they're doing it at the right rate, at the right calories, with the right food groups that make them feel good. Because when those calories start getting pushed up, so many people start leaning away from whole foods because of the fact that it's that much harder to get it all in because of the volume, because it really is voluminous foods with whole foods for the most part, unless you're really packing in like nuts and things like that are more nutrient dense. So, the food volume in and of itself, when you're really pushing thousands of calories, just starts to get unreasonable, where most people start to push themselves into food groups that now no longer make them feel good, right? They're feeling bloated and they're feeling gross after they eat. Now they're having cravings come in that they weren't necessarily having cravings for prior. That's the other part too, as to why it's really important to have the right coach, is that if you have pulled certain food groups from your nutrition profile for a really long time, you have the potential of growing intolerance to it. You have the potential of creating a bad relationship with that food group because you simply don't understand where it fits in your profile anymore. And this is something that I work with on my clients very closely to make sure that their bodybuilding journey is seamless. I think that there is a way to do bodybuilding sustainably. I think that there is a way to approach it in a healthy way. It will always be an extreme sport, and I think that people need to understand that. But the extremes that we're taking things to, exactly like everything else in life, is just too freaking extreme, guys. It really is. Like, we shouldn't be pushing death to go on the stage for a plastic trophy. So argue me on that one. I don't really care. So all I care about is that if we're going into this sport, we're not coming out of it with a worse mindset than when we started. When we are going in to be a bodybuilder, we are not just basing it off of physique changes, and that there's a big, deep why as to why we want to be a bodybuilder, why it's important for us to step on stage. And like I've mentioned many times, having the right person in your corner is going to be life-changing in those moments where you can develop habits that you didn't even know existed. That is what bodybuilding can do to you when you don't have the right coach. So make sure that you are preparing yourself prior to prep, in prep, and keeping conversation with your coach throughout to make sure that your mindset is not wavering. You're understanding what the plan is. You understand where things fit in your life so that you feel successful going into that next season. All right, tip number 5 and our final tip is make sure that you surround yourself with good people, okay? I know that sometimes you don't have the support at home. I know how hard it is to be a bodybuilder and your partner isn't. There is so many challenges that come in with bodybuilding and relationships, and it is a sport where you are very much not understood by majority of the people out there, which is why it's so important to have good people in your corner who are there to support you the way that you need it. So if that doesn't mean that you have family and friends properly supporting you, get involved in the bodybuilding community. I'm gonna be honest, guys, bodybuilding can be cutthroat. There are some rude people out there. It can be very competitive. It's an extreme sport. What do we expect? But there are some amazing people out there that love building community, that want to see you thrive. So with the ability of social media being out there now, you can get yourself involved with other competitors, with different brands, with different communities. And that's the thing, is that there is a community out there that loves you for you. So do not give up on finding that right community so that you're surrounded by people who can lift you up in a time where you deserve it. All right, guys, those are my 5 tips to beat the post-show blues, and I hope that that helps you out in your coming season. If you feel like what I've said here has really resonated with you as a competitor and you'd be interested in joining Team Authentically Fit, then make sure to head to www.authenticallyfit.com to check out our bodybuilding package. You can see what my mission is as a coach and what my outlook is for our team. And as well as you can book a complimentary call if you have any questions or you just want to get to know me further and make sure that we're the right fit. So I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in to another YouTube. Make sure that you go and follow my Instagram, team.authenticallyfit and @authentically.fit. And then you also need to make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the notifications, and now we're good. Okay, so I'll catch you guys on the next video. It's gonna be a good one.